For the first time in decades, there's a new bank locating in Roxbury. Eastern Bank recently opened a branch on Tremont Street at Roxbury Crossing. To tell us about the move and what it means for the community is the bank's vice chair and president, Quincy Miller. Thank you very much for being with us, Quincy.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I want to start off with your party. You had a block party last night?
Yes, we had a block party to kick off our new Roxbury Crossing branch. And we really didn't want to do the typical traditional stodgy ribbon cutting, that we've done so often in the past. This was really part of our mission about being part of the community. So we decided to do it as a block party, invite the entire community to it, and we were thrilled with the turnout.
Well, one thing that we know already about Roxbury is that given the size of its population, it doesn't have the number of banks you should expect. So why is Eastern Bank moving where it is?
That's a great question. And the real reason that is the reason we were founded 200 years ago was to be able to serve the underserved and the underrepresented. And Roxbury's been a community that we've been very involved with from a philanthropic perspective, but we wanted to have a branch in for quite some time. And this Roxbury Crossing opportunity gave us the perfect chance to be able to put a branch in the community. And it's part of our mission to be able to be in gateway cities, cities where most banks aren't. That's where we find opportunity and opportunity to serve.
Now, when we say banks, people usually think of some of those bigger competitors you have, the commercial banks. You're a mutual bank, and I guess the oldest in the country?
Yes. 1818 we were founded, actually in Salem. And as I mentioned, we were founded by wealthy philanthropists to serve the underserved. And we've kept that tradition in terms of community service and community volunteerism throughout our history. And so for us, we don't have any owners. And that's really what being a mutual means. So we invest our company and our returns and our success into our customers, our colleagues, and our community.
Well, one example of that, I think, is you had a business equity initiative started last year. How has that been working out?
Oh, it's great. It really is. So this was our attempt to be able to support the efforts of closing the wealth gap, particularly here in Boston. So we made a $10 million commitment to be able to help scale specifically Black and Latino businesses across our footprint, most of which are here in Greater Boston. And that initiative is really around being able to build capacity with those companies and give them the resources over the long term that they need to be able to grow and scale. And then also partnering with two new initiatives, one with the Boston Chamber and their Pacesetter initiative to create contracts for minority companies and focused around minority procurement. And the third then with the Boston Foundation to be able to provide patient capital to these businesses as they're looking to grow. And the outcome we're trying to deliver is to be able to help grow wealth within the Black and Latino community, to also create wage-sustaining, meaningful jobs within the communities. And it's really been off to a great success.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Quincy Miller from Eastern Bank. Quincy, you're one of many community banks, and there's a report out recently that around the country, these banks, maybe they're not doing as well as they ought to as far as being accessible and affordable to the community. What do you say as far as Eastern Bank?
Yeah, I think the challenge that honestly has happened over the past 15 years or so, particularly after the Great Recession, is many of the affordable financial products have gone away at many of the banks. And again, because of our mutuality, we've been able to retain the classic free checking accounts where, very low minimum balance to open, $25, no minimum balance to keep in the account. And there aren't additional fees such as, statement fees. So if someone wants an account to be able to transact, they have that. Same thing for savings accounts. And, many people out there who have lots of banks in their community may not see the aspect of, what is $10 a month? But if you look at the average wealth of a Black family in Boston, their average net worth is $8. So saving $10 a month throughout the year, throughout the years, that helps to be able to add to their savings, to be able to add to do different things. And so those small fees tend to add up over the long run.
Now, of course, you've got people in parts of the city, they're more likely to see a check cashing business or something like that. But what are the advantages of a bank if you don't have a whole lot of money?
Yeah, a great example of that is many people have heard about food deserts. Right? When you look at a community, for example, like Roxbury, inner city communities where the grocery stores have moved out and they've been replaced with convenience stores, and you say from a health perspective, that's not very healthy because you're not getting the real nutrition that you really would want from a grocery store. Same thing is on a banking desert. If the option is literally only check cashers, your options to affordable financial services, to affordable and always usually free financial advice is lacking. And so that financial health is at risk when you don't have banks in the community, and that's a great reason to be there.
I want to ask you something. That this is not just about one bank, but creating a climate of financial literacy. How do you see your bank, doing that?
Well, that's another key area for us and honestly for the industry, because helping young people and adults understand the importance of managing their finances, managing their cash flow, protecting their credit. Those are really skills that should start at the earliest of ages, in really grade school and middle school. But the key is for us to be able to deliver that expertise, whether it's in a school, whether it's in a branch, whether it's going out and meeting with a community association or in a church and help provide financial literacy classes. That financial empowerment is critical. And for so many people, they don't know what they don't know. So they don't know what's happening when they're going to a check cashing company and the real cost of that to them over the long term. And that financial literacy stays with you a lifetime.
I got to ask you something about what many of us take for granted. If somebody comes to me and says, you didn't pay that bill, and I think I might have paid it, I have to go online to my bank account, and lo and behold, I did pay it. I guess if you don't have a bank, you can't do that.
That's right. That's right. It gives you that paper trail. And again, it's those opportunities that you have in managing your financial life to make sure those hiccups, if there are a mistake from the vendor, that it's taken care of. I just had that great example of a vendor change their automatic payment portal, and I didn't realize it. So I didn't know that the payment wasn't being made. And I was able to go and say, listen, you made that change here. You can see when my automatic payment stopped and had no repercussions for it. And that history helped to keep that secure.
I'm going to ask you about the particular location where this branch is, because we say it's in Roxbury, it's near a residential area. It's also near a big student population as well, and you got this whole stretch of Tremont Street with new development going on, and you're creating some more traffic. So what does that all mean?
Well, again, it all means is it was the perfect opportunity with not only to serve the existing community, but to serve the growing community in that neighborhood. And for us, particularly given the foot traffic, it's a great commuter location where people are coming to. And still, in the days of banking, even though there's digital access, it still is all about convenience. And for many of our customers, being able to have that physical location is still very key to them.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Quincy Miller from Eastern Bank. Up ahead, we'll tell you about some free fitness programs in Boston's parks.